Hi, my name is Marielle, and I'm what you would consider the core person of my D.I.D system. I admit this is probably one of the hardest videos for me to make, even though it's just an intro. The reason being is that even though D.I.D has been sensationalized all over, it's actually a hidden disorder. It's one that's meant to be kept hidden from outsiders, meaning you, for the protection and safety of the survivor. Not only that, it's meant to be hidden from the core person. And that's why there's so many people that never realize they have D.I.D until way later in life, when some odds and ends need to be tied up and the pieces of the puzzle need to be brought back together. And in my journey, that's definitely been the case. I always knew that there was something different about me, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. I would find certain things in my life that I couldn't explain, like, why is it when I'm going through my high school years and you're really all about trying to present your best self and fit in and be popular, why were there times that, like, my eyebrows were being literally plucked off? And then I remember being in complete shock and horror, and I would be in school and the kids would be making fun of me and saying, what happened to your eyebrows? And I'd be completely mystified, trying to figure out, like, what had happened. And then I would, scurry around trying to repair it. And then one would think if it had simply been like a mistake that it would never have happened again. However, I began to have more times of this happening outside of what I realized what was my general awareness, and yet it was a mystery. How is this happening and why? Another thing I noticed is that during my high school years, I started to show up in certain kinds of clothing. Some were very different than others. One was a little bit risque and seductive. Another one was very much like a tomboy. Another one was, frankly, like, literally, actually, handmade clothing that looked like it had been made by someone who could not sew. And as myself, I know that I can sew. I know I'm actually a decent seamstress. And there were times throughout my high school years that a lot of kids would talk behind my back and make fun of me. And I remember this one time I was walking around in one of these handmade shirts, and you could see like these big, like, stitches sticking out of it that were all misshapen. And kids would be just pretty cruel. And they would say things like, nice shirt you have going there. And obviously I was completely mortified, but again, I went back to, I know there's something different about me. I don't exactly know what it is. So those are some of the examples of some things that were not quite adding up in my life that made me realize something was going on, but I wasn't quite sure what yet. Those are pretty benign examples. Nonetheless, they're examples that stood out because, every person when they're a teenager will remember these so-called embarrassing moments in their life, that definitely go down in history. Fast forward, I began to find myself in places I couldn't remember. There were people that would claim that I had a relationship with them, like I was a friend of theirs, and I had no memory of that. And they were completely convinced. And I would just, try to be diplomatic and say, I'm sure I look like someone that you know, but I don't know you. And fast forward to the most critical time when I would find later on that I woke up next to a man that I barely remembered marrying. So I didn't want to make this a long video. This is just an intro into the journey of a polyfragmented system. And, I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now, a lot more relieved. I've made sure that I've told parts of my system that no part of the system is going to be exploited. This is not a circus performance. This is about being transparent for greater good. And I hope that you'll join me. I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, bye.